so I have a podcast called I'll Give It to You Straightish. And it's me and I talk to a bunch of different types of people and my friends. And it's mostly about mental health and breaking the stigma around it, as well as sexuality and growing up as a teenager with technology and being in Gen Z and this type of politics and just my opinions on everything and how to handle it as a 16-year-old.
Which I love. I mean, I was raised by a very 1950s kind of mom who never talked about anything. I'm the polar opposite. And so Max and I have always had a really close relationship. And for me, sometimes she'll ask me a question and I'm always honest. I'm like, if I don't know, I'll say, I don't know. This is the first time I'm going through this. I've never had a 16-year-old daughter before. I'm figuring it out as we go together. So we're very honest with each other. But I love hearing her opinions on things because she sees things from a completely different perspective than I do. And I love learning from her as well as teaching her. So that's been really cool. And I love that she's sort of opening up her world to not just other teenagers out there, but I honestly believe she's helping parents.
Right. I love that. And I know, Max, you recently also opened up about your own sexuality. Do you talk about that on the podcast? What made you want to open up to the world, to all your Instagram followers, to your moms, and like her whole network of people, about who you really are?
Yeah, so recently, some people might know I came out as bisexual, and I didn't know if I wanted to at first because I didn't want it to be my thing, if that makes sense. And I didn't want to be defined by that, which you shouldn't be because it's really not that big of a deal. But I mean, especially in today's world, as it should be. But there's definitely still, some
like a stigma.
Yeah, like a stigma, but also just like a taught. I don't know. What am I trying to say? I wanted to say older people, but that's kind of rude. So.
Yeah, but I know what you mean, but like an old-fashioned way of thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's definitely still a stigma around it. And I didn't know if I wanted to really open myself up like that in front of so many people. And then once I realized how many kids didn't have the opportunity to just be able to, have a really supportive family or friends or etc., I was really empowered to share my own story and to try and help any other kids or parents who might not understand, that want to listen and want to understand. So that was really exciting for me.
I love that about you. You know what I think is so cool about that? I love the fact that for her, it wasn't a big deal, which honestly makes me feel like we did something right in our relationship and raising our kids, that for her being bisexual is like no big deal. Why do we have to even discuss it? That's just who I am. But when we sat down and talked about it, I just love how she realized how many people she could help. Because I know after she came out, and we had talked about it for a while, it wasn't a surprise or anything, but I got so many messages from not just kids, but from so many parents saying they wish they had handled it differently with their children.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
And it, again, made me feel so great about our relationship, but also like, hey, all right, you don't have to be defined by this, but why don't we use this platform to try to help as many people as we can?
Right. And I love that. I mean, I feel like you have this platform to help so many people. And I feel like I'm proud of you and I don't even know you. I'm like, I love this. So I can only imagine Heather being her mom, how proud you are of her.
I'm super proud of her. She's always been a really amazing kid. She's always been super smart and sarcastic. And she always says she's the best of both of me and Terry, which is true because she's got the singing and the creative, and she's also got the brains and the science and all that stuff. And she loves medicine. But yeah, super, super proud of her and everything she's doing. And honestly, to have her following in my podcasting footsteps is very exciting.
That is so fun. You guys have done a podcast together already, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Can we expect any more from the two of you? Like, I'm loving talking to this mother-daughter duo. This needs to be more of a thing.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely do some more collabs together.
Yeah, we definitely will on both of our podcasts.
Yeah, we should do them on both.
And we have some exciting things coming up, right?
Yeah, we're working on some family things. There's some fun projects we're working on. I hate saying stuff like that, like stay tuned, because as soon as you say that, nothing gets picked up. But let's just say that we're all feeling super creative. And one thing that this year has done, because we had to, we had a lot of projects separately and as a family in the works before lockdown happened. And obviously, like with everyone else, plans got changed and the world changed in such a way that those projects really didn't work anymore. And we had to sort of shift our thinking and think about, you know, what kind of content we wanted to be.
Which is nothing in comparison to everything else happening in the world, just to say.
Oh, 100%. Yes, 100%. And honestly, we're so grateful for each other and our lives and everything. And we've been very, very lucky. But just work-wise, we kind of had to do a bit of a shift. So we've done that. And now I think we have some cool content that we're ready to bring out in these same lines, and hopefully, you know, helping people escape a little from everything that's going on in the world, because that's what we do. We entertain.
I really am like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I really hope this is a family reality show. Like, please.
I cannot have a conversation like that right now.
I'm like, I need this. I need the Dubrows back, the family in my life again.
Oh, you're very sweet. Thank you. That's very kind of you. But we're exploring all kinds of fun options right now that
we'll see.
We'll see.
And Max, you would be, if it is a thing, you would be cool with putting yourself out there even more so?
Yeah, I've, you know, kind of always grown up on TV and media. And I mean, anyone that's even in the light at all, you know, understands there's haters and trolls and whatever. And it's kind of hard because, you know, I'm 16, like whatever. Obviously, high school's already hard. But I've kind of not only, you know, acclimated myself to not really care what other people think, but my parents taught me in a way to be confident and, you know, love myself. And I want other people to know that too and to do the same thing. But I think if there was something like that going on, I'd definitely be down because because I'm so funny and the people would love me. So
you can see now. You can see how much she's like her dad. Very humble. Very shy. Yeah. You know, the thing was,
and I got the looks. So
and she got it all. So when at the time we left Housewives, the kids were at, you know, a transitional period of time because, you know, when we started Housewives, they were little. Coco was 8 months old. I think she took her first steps on Housewives. I mean, it was crazy and great. But when kids are that little, they kind of just run through the scene and you pat them on the head and they're cute or they cause a commotion and that's it. But then they get to a certain period of time where I think you really have to have a conversation with yourself and your significant other to say, how can we make decisions for them like this when they're really they're not having any say in what they're being shown, especially through awkward times. And I read a lot about actors as teenagers going through, you know, awkward times in the media and whatnot. And so that was a big conversation with Terry and myself about always, you know, putting the kids in the spotlight. I would say that if there were a time for the family to reemerge, that the time would be soon because I feel like there's a lot of interesting things going on right now with all four of them. And they're all definitely at an age where they can say yay or nay.
Exactly. And I love, like, sounds awesome. And I'm really hoping this thing. I'm like, please. Max, I do want to ask though, because you did grow up on Real Housewives. I know your mom just said that you stopped before viewers got to see more of you, but did you feel any pressure growing up after being on Real Housewives and then your dad being this big shot celebrity plastic surgeon?
Not really. I mean, my dad would, you know, really make himself sound much more of a celebrity than he is. But
he thinks he's Madonna.
Oh, yes. So, you know, if we're not talking about how he would talk about himself, I think there wasn't a lot of pressure for me at all, especially because right now I'm at like a level where I have a decent amount of Instagram followers, but I'm not being stared at and people aren't watching my every move. And, you know, I wouldn't care if they were. I don't really care. But, you know, right now I'm just kind of chilling. And even after that, like the Housewives, honestly, I didn't even have social media. So I wasn't paying attention to the Twitter feeds or comments. Like I didn't have it. So that definitely wasn't an issue. I feel like it could be now, not for me because of my age and because of my personality and just the way I'm confident in myself. But for maybe like Kat or Coco, that could definitely be
because they're young.
Yeah, because they're younger.
I think that we've been very lucky to be able with, you know, kind of this life that we lead and the house we live in and the experiences the kids have. They're all really nice kids. I'm not saying they're perfect. Everyone has their challenges and their different personality quirks and all of that, but they're grounded, good kids. And so we've been really, really lucky with that. So moving forward, they understand that what is real and what's important in life and what's fluff.
Right. And it sounds like all your children have a really good head on their shoulders, which is thanks to you and Terry for sure.
Good job, Mom.
Yeah, but they're also, they have their challenges and their interesting personalities.
Which we also got from you. So.
Every kid does. I had those arguments with my parents over the summer when I was living with them, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I'm back. Yeah.
Is it, do your parents do the thing, since you were just on lockdown with them, do they do the thing where they want to go over past history? My mother tried to do this with me recently, and I go, Mom, we've got to just accept Buddhism. It's just today and tomorrow. Let's not go back.
No, let's not go back. No, there was moments where, you know, things that I did in high school were starting to brought up, like the time I snuck out and the time like, I gotta get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Exactly. But Heather, I do want to ask you, because I have to. Have you been watching this season of Orange County?
No.
You haven't?
No, so I never watched the show before I joined the cast.
Okay.
And I didn't watch it ever. I had seen Beverly Hills because Terry and I were friends with Adrian and Paul Nassif, obviously. So I knew the structure of the show and the whole thing. But, you know, when I left the show, if I'm perfectly honest, I would say partly FOMO. You know, no one wants to see, you know, what you're not doing or who's going to a party and you weren't invited. And I think mostly it's kind of like when you graduate college, you don't really follow your sorority Twitter feed. It's not that you don't love them. It's just that you've kind of moved on to the next chapter and you move on.
Right. Because I do know Tamra recently said that the only way she would come back is if you guys were a package deal and Kelly Dodd was out.
I heard that.
Yeah, she texted me that.
She's so funny.
She's great. I love Tamra. I definitely keep in touch with some of the girls. And honestly, when I speaking of sororities, when I run into anyone from any franchise, I feel like we're all sorority sisters. I saw Nene a couple of years ago in an elevator, big hugs. If I see any of the girls from New York, I'm friends with a lot of the girls from Beverly Hills. You know, Lisa Rinna and I were in acting class together 20 years ago, 23 years ago. I know Garcelle well. I mean, so it's nice seeing everyone.
So you wouldn't come on the show? I know we have to ask this. It's like I'm going to ask this every time.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's just that I want to always be authentic, and I hate stock answers. So it's like, never say never, you know, like, because I don't want to say I'm never going back. And then I'm like, so, you know, they called and, you know, what I'm thinking, you know, it's crazy. I do believe that 5 seasons on any show is an amazing run. And I'm so proud. I swear I mean this. I'm really proud, as difficult as it was to do the show many times. I'm really proud to be part of that piece of sort of pop television culture, because it is. And I'm a part of that, and I love that. I really do. But I feel like I've checked the box. It would have to be something so compelling to want me to go backwards instead of forwards. And I'm not saying like it's a step down. I'm just saying I did it. So what, you know, so the evolution of me, my family, my life, my career is what? I don't know. But I'm not sure going backwards is the right move.
Right. I mean, I agree. You guys have your reality TV show fans. But I'd much rather watch.
No comment.
No comment on that.